Chrisean Rock and when family kicks you while you're down. So you guys know that I have a soft spot in my heart for Chrisean Rock because I feel like our lives have a lot of overlaps, right? She's a young Black woman and she's been through a lot of things. And I think she's trying to figure out a lot of stuff. And she's been through a lot of unfortunate situations. And I can so see how in another version of my life where I hadn't given my life to Christ at the age of 7, I could see myself having ended up like where she is in a lot of ways. And it's sad because a lot of the things that she's said that she's done, she has the pressure of trying to support her family. Like her mum is ill. It's one of the reasons she's so focused on making money is because she wants to be able to look after her family and this, that, and the other. She's very misled by a lot of folks, lacking in a lot of wisdom. These are things that I can relate to so highly. And I was looking into like what's been going on with her recently. Every now and then I try to check in on what's happening with her. I obviously pray for the gal. And there's been this situation with her sister, I believe her name is Chastity, coming out saying all this stuff, right? Let me flick to my notes here. So this whole thing started with people talking about her and cheating with Offset. Now, first of all, the fact that Cardi B stays with, anyway, we're not going to get into the Offset situation because that's not what this video is about. But nevertheless, point being, whether she did or didn't do it, and this is my point, any loving family member or friend or anything would not put your business out and put you on blast in public as the first option. They would pull you to the side and say, hey, I love you. This isn't great behavior. But, and I'm not pleased with what you did. You aren't being the best version of yourself. Anytime people are quick to go and just jump and tell their story to the world and others rather than the person, I have no respect. And I've told you guys this because I've told you I've experienced exactly this and I'm experiencing it now. People who are going off telling their version of events, of stuff that I've done, things that they're not happy with about me, and it's happened my whole entire life and it's happening now. Do not come directly to me to talk about it. Go to talk to others and all the world to share their viewpoint. Then just for the sake of making me look bad as if they care, but realistically, they just like to have something to be able to say, to be able to get the attention. Hence why even I have spoken up about a few things that I never intended on speaking on, even on my channel, etc. Because I'm like, I realized that so many situations in my life where I'm wondered why people abruptly stop speaking to me or whatever, it's because of somebody else told a story. So I had to realize that, well, I'm going to at least share some bits, even if it's vaguely and even if it's few, so that people can understand that there's another whole side to the story they may never have heard. And this is also a similar thing that happened with Chrisean Rock, because in the end, what ends up happening is because Chrisean's sister's doing this, like I said, Chrisean's already done what she's done and she's already going to pay her consequences. And that's what I would say in that scenario. If it was my sister, I'd be like, look, I am not going to obviously be out there talking about what's going on with you, but sister to sister, you will still obviously have to face the consequences of the world, what you've done from your actions. I'm not going to participate in being a part of that, because I think if you care about somebody, like I said, and that's your actual intention with that relationship is that you care, you're not going to put that person on blast. The only reason you're putting them on blast for me is that you have other intentions from that relationship that is not the best for that person. So turns out, anyways, Chrisean decides to now have her say and starts saying, oh, well, actually, she's accused her of abuse. She's accused her of being involved with abuse and violence cases and all sorts and all this other stuff, which in the end, if we're being honest, and this is not in the eyes of the Lord, because in the eyes of the Lord, all sins are equal, other than blaspheming the Holy Spirit and whatnot. In the eyes of the Lord, there's no different. But in the eyes of the world, let's see. Chrisean Rock cheats with Offset, right? Okay, that's horrible to cheat on a man, but he's known to be a cheater, and Cardi seems to be just staying there as well, which again, like I said, I don't want to talk about that in this, but I hate how Hollywood is helping to normalize this idea that this is how Hollywood subtly teaches us young women, by the way, that men will always cheat and never to trust a man by doing stuff like this. That's why I'm against it. Because then when guys are like, when we say statements like men always cheat, this is why we see this stuff. This is what I'm saying. They utilize the influence of the industry so that us women will go, oh, men always cheat anyway. And we just end up, it's like a slow programming happening in the back of our brain. So it's like, just get on with it, just like how Cardi does, just like how Beyonce did, just like how everybody does, because that's just what's going to happen anyway, right? That's because that's what they do. That's what they do by their default. That's what I'm saying. I don't like that whole thing. But anyway, so Chrisean does that. Chrisean's sister's been accused of all of these violent crimes, of which she's actually been charged, I believe. I'm not sure if she did actual time in prison, but she has been charged, I believe, and abuse of different forms. And now her skeletons come out of the closet. Why am I trying to say this? It's wild to me how quick families prepared to kick you while you're down. So Chrisean's already down and she's getting kicked while she's down. Meanwhile, you got skeletons in your closet. And that's the bit that gets me, because even like I say, from my own situations, I'm like, if we really want to go down that road, like if we really want to go there and start exposing people's skeletons in people's closets, it's going to get scary, because we're going to realize that the very same people doing the accusing may have way more that they want to hide than what I want to hide. In fact, I'm out here actually sharing my own skeletons freely with my face on the internet. You know what I'm saying? And actually protecting yours, you know, which is funny. But this is a reality that happens. This is a reality that happens a lot of the time. And I believe it's laced in jealousy. It's laced in jealousy. It's laced in a desperation to get a slice of what that other person has. I believe that Chrisean is where she is because of who she is. Like I said, her motivations were, I believe she really tried with Blueface. I think Blueface and her were like the blind leading the blind in a lot of senses, right? I think she had good intentions but not good instructions, if that makes sense, which again, I can relate to that. Like just being in the world and just thinking, doing a lot of things. I look back at so many things I've done in my life. People will think, oh, you were so dumb to have done X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I know that now. At the time, I didn't know any different. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm like, oh, yeah, what an idiot for me to think that doing this was a good idea or doing that was a good idea. Like whatever the thing is, right? Which is, again, another sad tale and story of a lot of people in Chrisean's situation, which is why I said I can relate to her whole thing, where people be so quick to judge you. Everybody's there judging. Everybody's there. You got the world judging you. You got your own family coming out to have things to say about you. Nowhere is there people doing enough of the nurturing. The church is also just excited to see her in church and whatever, but they're really more excited about to me, seems more excited about the fact they've got a celebrity. And again, it's this whole special treatment celebrities get in church, where I feel like they should be, if you wouldn't do that for a normal congregant, if you wouldn't do that for the person who could only afford to put $1, heck, no dollars in your offering, why are you doing it differently for the person who's putting $100,000? It's like we haven't read the Bible, right? Where God, you know, literally there's a story of the woman who gave everything that she had. It was a very little, versus the other person who came in and was proudly walking about how much they were going to put in, wanting everybody to see. Now, I'm not saying that Chrisean's like that. I'm saying she's another lost one, you know, like many of us, who is lacking in any sense of wise leadership in whatever way. Some people just trying to take advantage. Other people also blind, just like you. Other people going around and taking whatever they could be doing with you. And like I said, to me, this was a red flag. That's why I talked about it. The simple fact that you're going out to speak about something in a public platform like that and start giving away information and enjoying that, oh, the tabloids are coming to you and now you get to make videos for, I don't know, whatever the heck you're making videos for, is in such bad taste. I would never. That's why I've personally been so hurt when people have done that stuff to me, because I'm like, I actually either don't say anything at all to you or I come directly to you. I've always been like that. Even at school, I was like that when things would happen at school. Whenever somebody starts, and I've lost female friends as a result of being this kind of person. If you start talking about somebody around me, I'm going to say, okay, seems like you have a problem. This is me being naive. Let's go and talk to that person then and let's solve the problem. I'm not villainizing them and I'm not villainizing you. Let's just go and talk about it. Okay, cool. You're saying you've got this issue. Cool, let's go and have a conversation and we can solve it. But how many times did I do that, both at school as an adult? It's happened to me in workplaces. It's happened to me in relationships, everywhere. As soon as we're doing the mature thing, everybody's gone and I'm usually the only one left trying to have the conversation about actually doing something about it. It shows me that, oh, we were just enjoying gossiping. Well, I'm not going to talk about so-and-so behind their back because that's not my character. If I'm going to talk about so-and-so, I'm going to talk to them. And I'm actually going to talk to them first. And I'm also not even going to really share the details of what happened, even if the relationship comes to an end, right? However, of course, if you now decide to go and start speaking about me and it's now affecting all areas of my life, as I've realized now is the case, I've realized by force, I have to share my version of events as well. And I feel like that's what Chrisean's doing as well, where it's like, You guys have been spun one narrative, and it's always the manipulative people. It's always the deceptive. It's always the people with bad intent who are the first to go and spin the narrative. The first out there to get their story heard, because we all have this. I can't remember what it's called, but it's definitely not going to be in this notebook. I talked about it in my recent video. I was talking about the series I did about all these different types of women from different types of religions. And one of them was talking about this thing that we have as humans, where the first version of events we hear of something, we're just inclined to believe that. And we're going to do more digging and need more explanation for the next version. I'm adding the second part. So somebody could come up to tell you that, so-and-so is a gossip. Now you're going to have to do more digging to prove that so-and-so isn't a gossip, even though you never did digging to decide if so-and-so was a gossip in the first place. Does that make sense? So that's what I'm saying. And again, it's the intent. Your sister's going through whatever. I'm talking about this from Chastity's perspective. Do we, again, deal with this behind the scenes, or is this just another opportunity to kick somebody whilst they're already down? And this is why my heart goes out to somebody like Chrisean, because I feel like she's one of those. She reminds me of myself in so many ways, of like, how do you get yourself out of a situation, or how do you do better when there's just kick further down after down after down after down after down after down, no matter how hard you try. And this is why I understand where a lot of young women my age are coming from in general. I've said this before and I'll say it again. The level of critique, the level of betrayal, and so many things that a lot of us young women have faced or do face, the level of people who you're supposed to trust kicking you while you're down, etc. Society having an opinion, everybody having an opinion about every part of your life, which again, something else I experience. It makes you just say, you know what, to hell with it all. To hell. It would be easier for me to just decide not to value myself than it would be to decide to value myself, because the world makes it so hard to value yourself in the first place, right? Self-value comes from within. But guess what? You know what teaches you what you have within? It's part of the people around you guide you down that way. If I have the relationship I have with the Lord, the reason I'm not down a path like Chrisean is because of God, my relationship with God. God and God only. God and God only. Because of who he is to me and who I am to him, and how he, guides me down the right path, and is patient and is understanding and is loving and is covering me when I'm going through things, not blasting me out there to the world, and who doesn't kick me while I'm down, but rather tells me, don't worry, get back up again. When I do something wrong, that wasn't for the best. Maybe we should try this again. You know what I'm saying? His words that he has to say are of building up and of light and of love and of power. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You know what I'm saying? So that's why my heart goes out to her. I just relate to her just way too much. And honestly, most of the time it's hard to even listen to because it's too close to home and it's too painful. But a lot of the time I also just think like, this is why I wanted to talk about it, that it's so sad because yeah, of course she's making a lot of bad decisions. Guess what? God created us to be a village for a reason. When you all go to when somebody has a baby and everyone's showing up and saying, oh, you're so cute. You guys are so, baby's such a blessing. We're having all these baby showers, all this stuff, all these different things that we do. It's because God created us to have a village. We're supposed to have each other to help support all of us to become our best version of ourselves. That's why other people exist. I've had to wrestle with God so hard over the last couple of years with this whole concept because I'm like, God, I don't want to have relationships with anybody because this world is trash. I don't want to have friends. I don't want to have family. I don't want none of it, right? And he's like, but you're not going to be the best version of yourself without having good people around you. That's how I created for this situation, this thing to work. That's how I made this. That's how I made the system. Do you guys see what I'm saying? And so when we just then are the ones, but then we're the same ones who ruin that same system that God created. And then that's how we end up with the likes of Chrisean Rock, who's doing her best. And no matter what she does, she's trying to be a good mom. People are like, oh, look at the state of the baby now. Like, it's probably because she was doing this while she was pregnant. Probably. Let her be. Give her a break. Like, society is so unforgiving. I'm going to talk about that's going to be the next video because I've got so much to say about the unforgivingness of society. This is why we have anxiety. But we'll talk about that in a separate video. I feel like I've said enough because if life's a game, it's pay to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.